Support provided by Walters Papillon Thomas Cullins, LLC, specializing in business litigation and personal injury cases for over 40 years.
Thank y'all for having me here today. As a fellow Rotarian, gives me a chance to do a makeup meeting, which I desperately need. I thought I would add something in the last couple of years that our president in Belchase discovered, and we were recently honored our founder, Paul Harris, in Plaquemines Parish. For those of you that didn't know this, Paul Harris rode out a hurricane in Buras in 1893. He came down to work on an orange plantation, and back then they didn't know what the storm, what was coming. And as they crossed the river from getting some oysters, they took refuge for the storm in an attic of a church, and he began rescuing people and children after the storm. And went back to Chicago and having lunch with a few friends and discussing the need, a lot of the things he saw after that storm to help people, they came up with the Rotary. So with all great things that we have created and been a part of here in Louisiana, it's great to know that the great work that Rotarians do all over the world, some of those ideas came from our founder right here in Louisiana in South Plaquemines. And so last year we put a plaque up not far from where that plantation used to sit, outside of a welcome center at Fort Jackson, in his honor. And that plaque will stand there explaining that year that he spent here, that summer here in Louisiana. So I thought I'd share that with you, a little bit of history that I didn't know. And I continue to learn great things about Louisiana all over this great state. Now, based on time, I won't go into all of the things going on in all these departments, but what I do want to share with you is over the last 10 years, the Lieutenant Governor's office, prior to me taking office, had been cut by 50%. When I got in office, my first year, they were cutting a little over $4 million. Well, I got my guns ready and I went over to that Senate committee meeting, and as I walked through the halls of the Capitol, I was ready to fight for that $4 million. And I walked by children in wheelchairs, seniors, and veterans, and all the wind came out of my sails by the time I got to the seat. And I sat down and I said, look, keep my money. Give it to those people in the hallway. We'll make do. And they kind of shook their heads and said, nobody says that. But I just couldn't, in good faith, ask them to restore my budget cuts when knowing those people needed that money far more than we did. And we did make do. And we continue to make do. A lot of things that we fund, we take tourism dollars and plug the budget holes. Years ago, they used to fund $5 million for the arts. It was zeroed out. Well, I realized we were losing federal grant money because we didn't fund certain programs for the arts. So we take about $1.5 million of tourism money every year, and we fund grants for arts programs for every parish in this state. We also provide internet service for every library in the state. In some rural communities, that's the only internet service those children have. How do you say no to that? We provide about 1,500 downloads a day, services for the blind. Those are things that have, over the years, have been defunded that I just cannot see as not funding, and we'll continue to do that. But that takes money away from what we have to promote the state. Now, the one place we do have money, and don't tell anybody, let's keep it our secret, is the Seafood Promotion Board. When I got elected, we were spending that money all over the country doing a lot of crazy things. And I went to BP and said, look, I need an extra year or I'm going to waste this money like they've been wasting it. And I'd like to redirect it and front it to schools and nonprofits, leave people with a good taste in their mouth, and help a lot of great causes. We did such a great job at helping every university in the state and many great charitable organizations, BP extended that money. So if you've got a fundraising y'all are doing, we can surely supply the seafood, Louisiana seafood that is, for those events and help more money go to the cause. We've got about $500,000 left, and we've got through the end of next fiscal year to spend it, and real excited about that opportunity. Now, everywhere I go in the state, people are like, I never see you promote Louisiana. And I said, that's because you're already here. I don't have to get you here. So I thought I'd start off today with 3 short 30-second videos of how we promote the state. Now, we don't have the budget to do TV all over the world, so we use targeted market through the internet. And these 3 commercials, you can do this stuff anywhere, but it's just a little bit special in Louisiana. And we use these commercials to drive people to our website and book a trip to Louisiana. So y'all enjoy these quick commercials, and then we'll.
This is a ticket stub. You normally toss it out, but not today. Today, you're in Louisiana. Today, you took a face-blending, high-octane airboat through the marsh and ended up back in the time of dinosaurs. Today, you savored seafood that hadn't crossed state lines. Today, you danced till your soul felt good and your souls ached. That ticket stub, you tuck it away as a reminder, because today, you're in Louisiana.
This is a shrimp po'. It could just be a sandwich, but today, you're in Louisiana. Today, you got up with the sun to enjoy the best bass fishing on earth. Today, you walked into a call where ghosts might be a visit, but spirits are always present. Today, you wandered into a hole-in-the-wall cafe and fed your soul with a frosty local brew and this shrimp po' boy. Anywhere else, it's just a sandwich. But today, you're in Louisiana.
This is a hat. You can get one anywhere, but today you're in Louisiana. You forgot your favorite one at home, of course, so you got this one and some change. You gave some of that change to the band who got you too lovely to dance, and a few dollars to a man who typed up a poem just for you. You saved the rest for a dozen fresh oysters in a Sazerac. One to feed your face, the other to feed your soul. The hat, it's your new favorite, because today you're in Louisiana.
So thank you. So Paul was mentioning that we had a record-breaking year in tourism, and we had an incredible year. We had a 9% increase from the previous year. We broke the 50 million visitor mark. 51.3 million visitors in 2018 came to Louisiana. Incredible number. They spent $18.8 billion, and the number I like to talk about is the $1.9 billion in taxes they left behind that you and I didn't have to pay. That comes to a little over $1,000 per family in Louisiana. Since 2016, we have created 6,700 new jobs, and we went from the number 4 industry this year, or in 2018, to the number 3 industry in Louisiana. The hospitality industry is now the number 3 industry in Louisiana. Thank you. We saw incredible new projects, new hotels going up all over Louisiana. It's not just New Orleans. Ruston, Shreveport, Alexandria. We're seeing special events since we started the horse tourism, and now we're marketing all of our ball fields and all of those sporting events all over the country for all of our municipalities in Louisiana. We're seeing special events go all over Louisiana. We've got Olympic trials, volleyball coming to Shreveport, the Little League World Series in Ruston. And all it took was us having a focus to go to these events around the country where they decide where they're going to host these events. And one person, our team, representing all of Louisiana, and it's working. We will top 100,000 hotel rooms in Louisiana this year, which is an incredible mark for us, and the list goes on. I'm real proud of the team in tourism all over this state. They truly have a love and passion for Louisiana. Now, our international market is an incredible growth opportunity. Last year, we saw a 37% increase in international travel to Louisiana, and that was just as we were starting the direct flights from Germany and France, and now we have a direct flight from Montreal, Canada. But this past year, we went to China, and we were invited to the International Summit for Tourism there. One year it's in China, the next year it's back in the United States. And we were told if we went and participated that they would reciprocate and send journalists to write about travel to Louisiana. And we have had over 30 journalists here to write about every city and every town. Now, we unveiled a new plan there about our movie trail. But let me tell you the opportunities for China. Shanghai alone issues 4,000 visas a day to come to America, one city in China. By 2020, they estimate that 240 million Chinese will visit America. I can't even imagine those numbers, but we'll find a place to put them. Incredible opportunity, and the Chinese visitor spends more money than any international visitor, $6,900 a person. Great opportunity for us. And, you know, I got up to speak and everyone clapped. I brought with us General Chennault's granddaughter. And if you know the history of General Chennault, here from Louisiana, taught the Chinese to fly, when I introduced her, they stood and clapped for 15 minutes, and every one of them had to come up and shake her hand. They are taught in school about General Chennault. So we got a secret weapon here in Louisiana with that great museum in North Louisiana, and the Chinese are coming to Louisiana in honor of General Chennault. Incredible weapon that we have, and she does a great job up at that museum in North Louisiana. It's worth taking the ride to see it. Now, I mentioned that we unveiled the Lights, Camera, Louisiana movie trail. Last year, we did a study right about the time the special session was going to get rid of the tax credits for the movie industry. And being a good conservative Republican, I had my doubts. Are they worth it? We knew it had value to the film industry. You know, everyone wanted to go to Duck Dynasty, NCIS New Orleans. People still go to Natchitoches because of Steel Magnolia. It's the 30-year anniversary. They'll be showing that movie in the theater there in Natchitoches this year. The first Tarzan movie was filmed in Morgan City, first movie to gross $1 million. So we want to highlight, we know people want to go where movies were shot and where people were shot, like Bonnie and Clyde right here in Louisiana. So we got to take advantage of it. So this study showed that 9% of the people that come to Louisiana are heavily influenced by a movie or TV show. It's a major part of their decision to come to Louisiana. That's a little over 5 million people a year. That's worth $1.3 billion to our economy. So when we gave that study to the legislators, I think it made it a little easier to accept those movie tax credits. Now, we do want the movie industry to work with us. Two things we need them to do. One, we need them to better identify the city or town they're in. If they're doing a chase scene over the bridge here in Baton Rouge, of course, it doesn't move quick enough for a chase scene. Sorry, Paul. We want them to superimpose Baton Rouge on the side of the bridge or on a water tower so people can identify the town or city they're in. And the second thing we want them to do is we want them to leave behind an artifact so we can one day have a museum with all the film history here in Louisiana. It's becoming a big tourist attraction all over the country, and we want to make sure we take advantage of that with Lights, Camera, Louisiana. Now, every year we have the seafood cookout. We moved it from New Orleans to Lafayette. Paul's trying to get me to move it back here to Baton Rouge. But we went from a couple hundred people in New Orleans to over 2,000 people for this event at the Cajun Dome. 14 chefs from around Louisiana, and we picked the king or queen of seafood to represent Louisiana in the national cook-off in New Orleans for the restaurant show. Last year, Ryan Trahan of the Blue Dog Cafe brought that crown back to Louisiana for the first time in 7 years, and then we take that chef all across the country with restaurant takeovers, cooking shows from New York to California to promote not only the cooking here, but the quality of life and the passion our chefs have, and it's really helped drive tourism and promote our food, and another great thing we do to promote Louisiana. Now, something else we do every year, we take one lucky crawfish out the Atchafalaya Basin, and this year we brought it to Lafayette and we pardoned him. And last year we named him Emil after Emil Zadaran, who came up with the crawfish ball 100 years ago. And I got invited to the White House last year and with 4 other lieutenant governors, and as the president and vice president walked out, I walked up to the vice president, and he asked me how we were recovering from the flooding, because we had given him a tour during 2016. And I said, we're doing good, Mr. Vice President. I said, look, I know Thanksgiving's right around the corner, and y'all get to pardon a turkey. He said, Billy, let me tell you, it's a big deal. That turkey parades around the grounds, and he spends the night at the White House. And I said, I know, Mr. Vice President. I said, let me tell you something. Back in Louisiana, the first Tuesday after Mardi Gras, one lucky crawfish, we take out the Atchafalaya Basin, we escort him to Lafayette, Louisiana, we pardon him, and we let him live his life out in the state park while the rest of his family gets boiled alive. And he looked at me and he said, son, what the hell are you talking about? I said, have a good day, Mr. Vice President. When he came in to visit with the pastors from those churches the other day at the airport, I reminded him that we still pardon the crawfish every year, and he just shook his head. He goes, I remember the story. So it had a lasting impression. We have a lot of fun with that. Something we did year before last is we got the legislature to support us starting a foundation, Culture, Recreation, Tourism Foundation. And it's allowed us the private-public partnership. I knew the condition of the state parks when I took office, that we would not be able to continue on the path we were on, that we had to think outside the box. So we looked around the country and we said, what are other states doing? West Virginia, this is a resort conference center in a state park. In 6 years, it's generated $50 million for that park system. Now, we have 1,000 acres on Lake Pontchartrain. We've got 5 companies that want to bid on building one of these on that 1,000 acres on the North Shore, Lake Pontchartrain. But every project does not have to be this big. We let a gentleman move his horseback operation into Bogue Chittor. We make $2 a half day, $4 a whole day. He's making a bunch of money, but hundreds of people are going to Washington Parish to ride horses. It's helping the restaurants, the shops, incredible boost for that economy. And we just filmed a national TV show about horseback riding in Louisiana state parks. If you know somebody, you have an idea, we want to talk to you. Somebody wants to build some luxury cabins and put them in our system, we'll split 80-20. You get 80, we'll take a little off the top, make some money to operate the park, we'll drive more people in the park, it'll be a win-win. We've got a husband and wife just moved their canoe operation into the park on the North Shore. They used to launch canoes on the side of the road. Their business has already tripled. Now they're providing windsurf and other things for the people that enjoy that beach there. They're making a bunch of money. We're bringing more people in. We're making a little money. Great opportunities. One thing we won't do, we will not allow someone to come into the state park that will hurt a local business. Everything we do, we're venting with the elected officials, the chamber, the tourism folks, the public. And if we get any pushback for any reason, it's not a good deal. We've got several people looking at putting lazy rivers, zip lines. But we want to use as many local entrepreneurs, Louisianans, as we can. So we're encouraging people to come work with us and see what we can do to offer new things in our state parks. I believe not only will we see a day where our state parks will be money makers for Louisiana, but we can then take that money in the foundation and fund many of these critical arts and culture projects around the state and give grants out to local museums that are having struggling times to stay open. And I really believe we can do this. The sky's the limit. We've got great properties, and we're well on our way. As a matter of fact, just by reorganizing our state park and getting rid of some wasteful contracts, we have 2 state parks making money for the first time ever. Had it not been for the flooding, we would have 5 making money. And that's before we did private-public partnerships. That's just running them more like a business. And so these parks are great assets, and I see a day where they're going to generate a lot of money, and we won't need any tax dollars to run those state parks. Now, I wanted to mention this program, especially here today. I went out to California to the National Endowment for the Arts and talked about the incredible high rate of veteran suicide we have in Louisiana. And we were able to secure an arts grant, art therapy for veterans. And we're on our third group, and 12 vets get in a room, talk about their pain, and we have a counselor and a songwriter in that room. And they put all that pain down on paper, and they turn it into a song. As a matter of fact, I cried when I heard the first song. It's actually so good they're going to record it in Nashville. But talking to these veterans and hearing how when they have a little rough night and they can take their phone and play the song that they helped create, how it has made their life different. Incredible, incredible program. I'm so proud of our team that has put all this together. We did the first one in Lake Charles, the second one Lafayette, third one's taking place in Alexandria. So if you know of a veteran that you think might be able to, this may be able to help them, please let us know. The VA's helping us with a lot of names and a lot of people that nothing else worked. It's incredible to see this really making a difference in their life. So let us know if we know somebody that can use our help. Now, this is my favorite staycation. And I'm going to ask you, like I ask everyone in Louisiana, take one vacation when you normally would leave Louisiana and go see a part of Louisiana you haven't seen. I promise you won't be disappointed. I spoke to a group of 500 high school kids and asked them to go home and ask their parents to take a staycation. And the first question I took after I spoke, a little girl said, "Where are you going on your staycation?" Man, she caught me. I hadn't thought about it. So I had to think quick. I said, "Toledo, Bend, and Natchitoches." She goes, "Okay." I went home that night and told my wife, "Look, the week before Christmas, we're not doing anything. Why don't we go to Toledo, Bend, and Natchitoches?" She said, "Why there?" I said, "I couldn't think of anything else." But if you've ever been to that hardware store in Natchitoches, my wife and my mother-in-law went home and posted that on social media. 20 of their relatives have since gone to Natchitoches. So if you go, you'll have fun, and you'll tell your friends and share it. Some great ambassadors that we partnered with this past year, the soccer, the rugby team, not big in Louisiana, but they got Louisiana Feed Your Soul on their shirt. They're in first and second place all year. They're all over the media overseas. Our bass fisherman, every time he holds up a bass, you see Louisiana. Even if he doesn't catch it in Louisiana, we tell people it's from Louisiana. And Lauren Daigle, we partnered with 2 years ago, great Christian singer, millions of followers, and she talks about Louisiana everywhere she goes, and we helped pay for her tour early on, and she has been a great ambassador for us. You can sign up and be an ambassador when you take that staycation and help us share those stories. You get a little sticker in the mail. We'll share those stories. Now, Mardi Gras, we got a few videos we couldn't use, so don't send us any of those. And but it's working. This is a picture of a ghost in a Gothic jail in DeRidder. I don't know if it's real, but since we posted this picture, 4,000 people have been to DeRidder to look for a ghost. So if you got a ghost, you post it and they will come. Now, this year, I got 4 minutes, and I got a 2-minute video. So this year, we rebranded Louisiana Feed Your Soul. We won a national award, an international award, out of 18 in the world for our new brand, and we unveiled it on the street corner in many cities. We fed their soul, and I'm going to close with a quick video, because I know we got to end on time, of how we feed our soul here in Louisiana. Thank you. Whew, did it.
Jazz clubs and late-night revelry are most likely the first things that come to mind. But there is far more to Louisiana than the Crescent City. And likewise, New Orleans is much more than the French Quarter and Fat Tuesday. Louisiana is a land of contrasts. Its different regions vary in physical appearance, from gentle rolling hills and lakes in the north to bayou swamps and the Gulf of Mexico in the south. Perhaps there is no better example of contrast than Louisiana's culture. Here, the American South meets French heritage. The result? A genteel southern pace enveloped by a zest for life. And it's that pursuit of enjoyment that threads throughout Louisiana. Dancing to Zydeco in a local music hall. Spicy boiled crawfish and the dare of how hot. Casting a reel and hooking a fat bass. Flying through a sea of grass on an airboat. The uneasy and mysterious thrill of touring a haunted antebellum home at night. The sound of jazz, blues, and soul drifting from back alleys and open doors. And yes, the craziest party in America, perhaps even the world. Louisiana isn't for spectators. It's for participants. For those that want to feed their soul and not only live the moment, but to become the moment. Here, excitement is a constant pursuit, and one that's easily found. Louisiana, feed your soul.
Thank y'all very much.
Support provided by Walters, Papillon, Thomas Cullens, LLC, specializing in business litigation and personal injury cases for over 40 years.